This neighborhood in Seoul really took me by surprise. Today, I'm taking you to Huam-dong, just behind Seoul Station, to show you what it has to offer. From unusual architecture to skilled shoemakers, and a history that isn't entirely light. All within walking distance of each other.
We're going to explore a new neighborhood, and it's going to be Huam-dong right over here and the rest of this area. I know it's a small place, but nonetheless, there are many things to see. So please, I hope you join me. Let's go. First stop of today, the Yakyeon Catholic Church, right in the middle of Huam-dong. This is the entrance. You can't see the church from here yet, but when you see it, you will be amazed. It's a beautiful, beautiful structure. So let's check it out. Always wanted to visit this place. I knew it was here, I knew it, but I've never been. I can see it already. This, I believe, is the oldest Western church in Seoul. It's like an X number of years older than the Myeongdong Cathedral, maybe 6 or 7 years. It's cool because it kind of reminds me of my hometown where many of the churches look like this. What is cool about this church is that it's named after the hill it is on, because many medicinal herbs grew on this hill. I'm afraid to open the door, I don't want to interrupt.
It's not only the first Western church in Seoul, but in Korea. Dating back to 1892, and its architecture later became a good example for other churches in Korea. There is a sad reason it was built here on this hill though, but more about that later. First, I had to come back with a Jungnim local, Joe, to see the beautiful inside after the mass.
Hey, how's it?
I'm Joe.
Bart. Guys, I just met with Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe.
He's a Jungnim local, right?
I'm a very local. I've been living here for about 5 years now. This place was always, of course, very known, but then I believe one of the celebrity couple had a wedding here as well. Then it became like popular to non-Catholics, non-Christians too.
I see.
Despite the fact that he was always here.
If you want to get married inside, and I'm sure many of you want to, there is a specific way to apply.
There are so many couples who want to get married in the Myeongdong Seongdang or Yakyeon Seongdang, right?
Right.
They do the raffle, and then you gotta pass the raffle. You don't get to choose the date. So depending on which thing you pick up, that you have the date and month. You want to have your wedding here, then you gotta do the wedding here as the raffle says.
It's all based on luck. I didn't know that.
Absolutely based on that.
Bye to Joe for now. We'll see him again later.
We just started, guys. There are so many more other places I want to show you. One of them is the building over there. Doesn't look too nice from the back, but if you see it from the front, you'll be amazed. I promise you that. The other day I was talking to someone who has a gallery right over there. This is the backside of the church. And I asked him, like, why there are still so many houses in very poor conditions over here, like this one. And he told me that it's because of the church. You're not allowed to build high rises. So investors are afraid to invest in the land over here. They're only allowed to build something as high as that. So it wouldn't be a great return on investment. And that's why this place here on the backside still looks the way it looks. There's something really nice about this whole area. I don't know how to explain it. Now, check this out. The building right over there, the St. Joseph Apartments. What a structure. If you look at the building, you see they didn't level the hill. So the building adapted to the hill, not the hill to the building. Here it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floors, and all the way at the end, only 3 floors. You see old shops, lots of new shops as well. Here from this side you can see it better, how the building goes down like that. Like, so impressed with this building. You can see a lot of new entrepreneurs moving in. You can also see how it curves with the road. Another unique feature. Awesome, I love this one. Curious about the inside too. I like these people have such a great view over the church. Look at this. It's the backside window and there's the church. And it slowly elevates, it slowly goes up. What an intriguing building, seriously. I believe it's called a St. Joseph Aparte because the early residents, well, many of the early residents were the church parishioners, people who would go to the church, who would take care of the church and whatnot. Not sure if many of those people still live here.
The Yakyeon Seongdang built these apartments back then, so priests and the Catholics can live here. And I'm not sure whether that's the case anymore, but then that's how...
Maybe some of them remain.
I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure.
looking for a restaurant which is called 중림장. It's Seoul Future Heritage. Ah, I found it. Look at this. 안녕하세요. 식사 가능할까요? 네? 와, 진짜 옛날 집이요. 저는 설렁탕 하나 주세요.
네, 설렁탕 하나 있어요.
여기 역사 검색 해봤는데
네.
신기하네요.
아, 그래요?
네, 여기 옛날에 옆에 시장 여기 옆에.
있습니다.
네, 감사합니다.
네, 맛있게 드세요.
네.
I wanted to know why this restaurant is future heritage. And then I found something super interesting. It moved here in 1972 to sell seolleongtang, oxbone soup, to merchants of the nearby market. There was like a huge fish market here. However, it was so busy that they had to create the Noyangjing fish market, where most of the merchants eventually moved to. The market is gone now, but the restaurant is still here, and it was delicious. I love finding these kind of stories.
네, 잘 먹었습니다. 감사합니다. 거기를 그 원조 사장님이세요?
네.
그래요? Wow, that was good. That was good. Look at this location. Look at this. It's in an alley. That's where you come in, and behind me is where the restaurant is.
So when I first moved, actually about 4 or 5 years ago, there were a few more seafood markets here. You can still see some of this. So what I know is that this street was one of the first seafood markets.
Right.
Even traces back to the Joseon Dynasty.
So all traces from the market over here.
Yeah, you can still.
That's so cool.
Seafood market.
Oh yeah, you're right.
This is quite Instagrammable.
It is.
spot.
I'm not gonna lie. It is.
Especially this 문화창고 as well. It used to be the storage.
Oh, this
for
was
the
a storage.
for the fish market. As the seafood market began disappearing, I'm sure they began kind of reconstructing this place, and
Yeah.
then it became this cultural thing. And
Okay.
the building looks amazing.
They did a good job.
And they have a bookshop. They have a small library-ish style place as well.
I like it. I mean, to me, it kind of shows what you can do with older buildings.
I'm starting to appreciate this area more and more. I love how everything connects. The apartments exist because of the church, the restaurant and warehouse because of the old market that once stood here. But there is another connection I learned about, and this one shocked me. Since the Joseon era, this was a major gateway. People moved in and out of the city. Some even traveled all the way to and from China. And because so many people passed through, the Joseon government established an official execution ground right here. Public, visible. A warning to everyone entering the capital. A calculated show of power, if you ask me.
The next place is a place I've been curious about for such a long time. The Seosomun History Park. Never been here before, like many of the places today. Many people have been executed here. And many Catholics, and this is an important point, have been persecuted here. Sometimes I go to neighborhoods and I wonder, why haven't I been there yet? Because I've been to so many places already. This is one of those places right in my alley. Super interested in all this stuff. Let's start with the museum. Yeah, I feel like I'm walking into a contemporary art museum. 안녕하세요. Again, nice to meet you again. So yes, there is so much to see over here. And I was reading through the information about the museum and its history, and it makes me sad and quiet. I don't know what to say. Like the spatial design, they did a great job.
The first recorded execution here took place in 1504, the 10th year of King Yeonsangun's reign. The records describe how the condemned man was dismembered and beheaded, and his body put on display for the public to see. Centuries later, in the 1800s, this ground became a primary execution site for Catholics. More than 100 were killed here. In fact, this was the single largest execution site for Catholics in all of Korea. Also the reason why the Yakhyun Church is on a hill looking over this place.
Yeah, this is it. I'm back outside because I wanted to see this. The well that was used by the executioner to clean his blade after he executed someone. All right, next, we're on the opposite side of Seosomun History Park, and here you have the Handmade shoe market. It's been here for some time, old building, and apparently all these shoes are handmade, and I think this whole thing will be, or is already, future heritage. I found the plaque, guys, the Yeomcheonggyo Gudokori. It is indeed Seoul Future Heritage. 안녕하세요. 혹시 이 건물 오래됐나요? 언제부터?
규동란 바로 그 다음에 생긴 거야. 이걸 손으로.
손으로?
예, 예.
다?
예.
오, 신기하네요.
어디 어느 나라?
네덜란드에서 왔습니다.
아, 내가 좋아하는 나라네.
가보셔요?
아니 안 가봤는데.
안 가봤는데?
안 가봤는데 내가 좋아하는 나라야.
아, 여기 있구나. 오. 네, 감사합니다. 와,
커피 한잔 타드릴까?
네. 커피 좋아요. 네, 감사합니다. Wow, the man is like a genius. Like all these shoes were made by hand. That is crazy. So many shoes. I was just lucky to meet the 사장님 on the street. But yeah, he told me that he made everything by hand. Some of these shoes look really nice. 감사합니다.
일로 앉으세요.
네. 여기 오래 되나요? 가게요?
오래 했어요, 오래 했어. 40년.
40년?
네, 40년.
그때부터 지금까지 많이 변했나요?
아, 여기 변한 것도 없고
네.
그 전엔 영업이 잘 됐는데 지금 영업이 안 돼요.
왜요? 이유는?
왜냐면 이게 네덜란드 그렇지만은
네.
그 한 나라의 주권자, 통치자가 누가 하냐에 따라서 그 경제가 달라지고 나라의 흥망성쇠가 그 사람한테 달려 있어. 근데 우리나라의 통치 잘한 사람은 박정희 대통령이거든. 이분이 제일 잘한 어른인데 이분이 돌아가시고 전에 이상한 사람들이 나와서 장사가 안 돼.
아, 그럼 사장님 지금 만족하지 않아요?
그렇지.
네.
박정희 대통령 같은 사람이 나와야 되는데 저런 사람이 안 나오고 저런 사람이 안 나와. 저런 훌륭한 사람이 나오면 지도자가 도덕적으로나 양심적으로나 깨끗한 마음과 깨끗한 양심으로다가 통치를 해야 되는데 그런 사람이 없잖아. 그러니까 그래.
아이고.
사람이 이 마음이 깨끗하고 양심이 깨끗한 사람, 올바른 사람이 나와야 돼. 그래야 되는데 그렇지 않은 거야.
저는 있어요. 가게 이름은 뭐인가요?
엘리야 제와.
엘리앗?
엘리야.
엘리야?
예.
그 영어 미국 이름?
성경에 나오는 선지자.
아,
하나님의 첫 번째 가는 선지자. 하나님의 첫 번째 가는 선지자 엘리야.
엘리야.
예, 엘리야.
아, 그렇군요.
예.
가톨릭 아니 기독교?
기독교.
아, 기독교.
예, 예.
근데 여기 가톨릭 사람 많아요.
예, 많아요.
네.
Yeongjongyo Handmade Shoe Street dates back to 1925, when shoe repair shops began appearing here as leather was smuggled into nearby warehouses. After liberation, craftsmen started repairing American combat boots and transforming them into proper men's shoes. Yes, that's how it began really. It boomed in the 1950s and 60s, but as always, times change. The demand declined with the influx of cheap Chinese products. And from what I understand, when the nearby overpass was turned into a pedestrian road, the area suddenly became more secluded. During that downturn, some craftsmen moved to Seongsu. And believe it or not, at its peak, this street handled over 90% of the nation's shoe production. That's insane.
Also, while I was talking to the 사장님, I kind of feel like so bad about myself. Like my Korean is all right and it's still improving little by little. Oftentimes, there are still things I don't completely understand and that makes it difficult to come up with good follow-up questions. So I know you're probably judging hard. Just so you know, I'm always working on my Korean to do better, to understand better. And this year I will start the Korean integration program offered by the government, improve my Korean even more, make sure I one day will be able to speak it fluently. But yeah, it's so much better than 2 or 3 years ago. It's definitely not boring here.
It's not boring. It's not like over touristy place. It's not like to your face kind of history here, but
No.
that is like subtleness of this street. I think that's what
No, exactly. And what I felt, because of course people go to Seoul Station, they go to Namdaemunsi장.
and that's pretty much it. I mean, no one like stops here, right?
No, it's like you don't accidentally step into the street here.
Joe and I had a long conversation about Huam-dong and about Seoul in general. And somewhere along the way, I realized why I like this area so much. It's layered, old, but also modern, heavy, but also creative. It's definitely worth the short trip west of Seoul Station. On my map, this will be remembered as a neighborhood shaped by executions. If you made it this far, please like the video and I will see you next time. Houdoe!